Hey, what's going on? Heroes Pogi Force here. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded a video, and I just wanted to preface this one with a quick apology for that. We've had some things going on personally here at the Caster House, so just wanted to apologize. It's been kind of keeping me away. It's very important to me, so I had to take care of it. It's still ongoing, to be honest, but I'm not going to bog you guys down with personal problems. We're just going to get right into today's video. We're going to try to get back into producing videos for you guys, and today we're going to be doing one of those Pogi Force Plays videos, the What is Pogi Playing videos. We haven't done one of those in a while. So I've been playing a lot of games in the meantime, and I thought we would just jump right into it and talk about them, see what's going on, what games I've been playing, and why I've enjoyed playing them. So let's get started with game number 1. Welcome to the world of Trove, a pixel-based crafting game, kind of a similar vein as Minecraft. As you can see, just like Minecraft, the game has a lot of different biomes, though some of these biomes can be pretty outrageous, like this candy biome here, with candy machines and candy canes. You see the different biomes there as well. Or we have a fairy or fae biome with large trees and dark grass and mysterious structures rising into the sky. You also have a Tron biome with dark machines and a dark sky with blue lines tracing all throughout. Now, the world of Trove is actually an MMO with other players that you can encounter and interact with. And there's actually multiple worlds with multiple portals, as you can see, leading to different tiers of world difficulty. Each world is randomly generated with all sorts of different things to encounter as you play through it. Now, combat in Trove is pretty straightforward, each class only really having a couple of attacks to worry about, though combat is held primarily mostly in dungeons, which are scattered throughout the game worlds. Dungeons are where you will find most of your enemy mobs, and is also where you'll be doing most of your loot grinding, because this game is also a looter. Once you've completed defeating a particular mob, usually bosses, they will drop a treasure chest, and treasure chests are where you can find most of your loot. It has a rarity quality, the usual rarity quality that you're used to, but it has higher rarity qualities above orange quality. So when you see me pick up orange gear in this clip, it's not even the most valuable gear in the game. Now, I did say this game is like Minecraft, and that's true. In each game world, there's a thing called a cornerstone, where you can build your player house, which is fully customizable. As you can see, this castle I built is completely of my own creation, and you can enter into a build mode, which allows you to remove and replace blocks using a special laser that you only have while in build mode. The blocks in this game are a little less complex in some ways, and yet more complex in other ways than in Minecraft. And you do still have mineable ores like in Minecraft, though most of the blocks you encounter in Trove will actually be a primal color. They're color-based instead of material-based. Except for these mineable ores that you see right here, most of the blocks in Trove are color-based. So that kind of gives you some leeway on your building, but when you're trying to capture a certain look, it can make things a little difficult. Like, say for example, if you're trying to capture the look of weathered stone, having just a regular gray block may not convey the look that you're looking for. Now, this game's charm comes largely from its sense of humor. As you can see here in the Tron biome, most of the dungeons are actually based off of video games. In this case, it's an arcade cabinet. I've also played in a dungeon with a friend where we did things like skee-ball and Donkey Kong. We actually had a dungeon that was based off of Donkey Kong. It was actually a really fun dungeon to complete. Dungeons are really a lot of fun, especially in the Tron area, and the worlds have so much explorable space. You have an infinite supply of explorable worlds with a different combination of biomes, different dungeons, different enemies to face, different qualities of difficulty, different materials to farm. There's an infinite supply of material to explore. Now, the game's downside is in its combat. Its combat is a little too simplistic for my tastes, and certain classes are just blatantly overpowered. The Revenant here, being the class that I'm currently playing, is one of them, unfortunately. It's a really powerful tank class, and you can pretty much solo all PvE content that you want. There is some PvP content, but I am not familiar with PvP, so I can't really make any comments on it. I don't really play the game for the PvP. The PvE, it's fun to explore, but it's a little too easy to complete, and so the combat is a little too simplistic for my tastes. But it's a fun game to play with friends, so if you got a few friends who don't mind maybe building their own world, crafting, if you guys play Minecraft together, if you want a little bit more sense of adventure, then Trove might be up your alley. This might be the game for you. Now, you've probably heard of World of Tanks before, as it's a much older game, though if you haven't, it's very important to note that it's very different from your typical wartime shooter. The game has 5 different classes of tank across 7 different nationalities, ranked from Tier 1 to Tier 10, and each tank has a different function on the battlefield. 5 classes, of course, has a very different battlefield function, such as the artillery, as you see here, whose job is to snipe down from a distance enemy tanks. Then you have the light tanks, which are very fast on the field, that have to spot enemy tanks for the artillery, and then you have medium tanks and heavy tanks, acting as the heavy hitters, and finally tank busters, which are the true snipers of the game. Now, at the end of each game, you earn silver and experience to help upgrade and improve your tanks, and this is performance based, meaning it's not necessarily about the number of kills, but how else you helped your team, such as spotting enemy tanks and doing damage. You do this by using experience to purchase new upgrade packages to improve your tank, as well as to research better tanks. Once you've researched the tank, you use the silver that you've earned to buy the tank or to buy that upgrade package. The differences between tanks are actually pretty nuanced, with different thicknesses of armor plating, different levels of horsepower, different levels of concealment. Really, this game's got a lot of different little nitpicky details that actually make a big difference in battle. And it's actually kind of funny to think about how much emphasis is put on stealth and recon in a game that's all about driving around a big tank. For me, that's really what sets this game apart from its competitors, is the technical nuances that allow this game to behave very differently from other wartime shooter games. The tactical aspect, shooting your enemy in the right spot, spotting targets for your allies, and even if you do poorly, you can still be a contributor to your team and feel like you've done something to help out, even if you ultimately end up losing. But it's a really fun game. I love playing it with friends, especially because you can especially then get together and work on your strategy. You can call out targets to each other. You can even point out targets on the map by pulling up the map, so that way your friends can see what else you're dealing with. But it's a really fun game. The only thing is that farming for experience and silver, especially at higher levels, can be really grindy and not a fun thing to do by yourself, especially once you hit Tier 4, Tier 5 in your tanks. Then it gets to be a real grind to see any real progress on your tanks. So my recommendation is to play this game with friends, especially once you get to those upper tiers. But it is a pretty fun technical game to sit down and play with just a few minutes at a time, maybe every once in a while. Just understand that the game can be really grindy once you get so far in. Ark Survival Evolved seems to be one of those games that takes its inspiration from Minecraft, along with other games in the genre like Rust and DayZ. But instead of focusing more on the crafting side of the formula, this is a true survival game where your goal here is to get the food and materials needed to feed yourself, clothe yourself, keep yourself protected from the elements, and most importantly, protect yourself from the roaming dinosaurs that exist in this game. The premise behind Ark is pretty simple. You're some sort of like human experiment pet thing, kidnapped by aliens perhaps, and deposited on this Ark world where they basically watch you try to fight and survive. And so there's a certain technological aspect to it, but at the same time it kind of excuses the fact that there are all sorts of mysterious creatures and dinosaurs that live in this world. Now, the game's crafting system is pretty straightforward. All it requires is the right materials and the right engram. Engrams are unlocked using engram points that you get whenever you level up. Engrams have a prerequisite level in order to unlock them, plus some engrams also have a prerequisite engram that you have already previously learned. So it's a way to gate the player in such a way so that way they don't have access to all of the most powerful things right out the gate. It's a steady progression. Your level up also includes ways to further improve your character's health, stamina, how much food they can eat at once, how quickly they craft things, how much they can carry, etc., etc. Now for me, the real fun of the game comes from the challenge of survival. It's actually a very difficult game, with most of the creatures in the game being really strong. This isn't like Minecraft, where the enemies are pretty innocuous, and as long as you have awareness of your surroundings, you'll be fine. Even when engaging in some of the strongest enemies of the game, or even some of the weakest enemies of the game, there's a very good chance that you could not come out of it alive. Even fighting something as simple as fish in the river, just trying to get your daily food, can be a life or death ordeal. And that's the real thing about this game that I really like about it, is the level of challenge that it presents. Now, I do play mostly solo. I do play mostly single player. In fact, I've not played multiplayer at all yet. I haven't really dipped my toes into that pond just yet. But I am looking forward to the multiplayer aspects of the game. The single player aspects have been really super challenging, and it's been really great to progress through a game that's been against me at every turn. That's the one thing about challenging games that I really like, is that when you finally overcome the obstacles, it's very satisfying. Now, is anyone really surprised that Destiny is on this list? I mean, Destiny is still one of the best looting games out there on the market. It's a really solid first-person shooter with some very tight mechanics, very easy to control, colorful design, beautiful graphics. It's a very good game. I really don't understand the people who hate it still. I admit that back in its first year, I wasn't a big fan of the game, but with year 2 and beyond, it's been a really stellar example of the first-person shoot and loot genre, and I still enjoy it to this day. This last week was Iron Banner, so of course I participated in that with a bunch of friends. It was super fun, and I'm looking forward to the next Iron Banner. If you guys would like to see me do more Destiny content like I used to do last year, just let me know. I'd be happy to do more. So I really can't think of a game to better follow Destiny than The Division. It's a very similar game that was probably actually inspired by Destiny. There's certainly a lot of commonalities. For one thing, it is a shoot and loot style game. It does have a gear score, which is very similar to a light level, as in Destiny. And it also has the similar gear leveling system, where you have first white, then green, blue, purple, and finally yellow quality items. Now, this game differs from Destiny in a lot of ways. For one thing, the character class system is a little more versatile and a little more varied than in Destiny, and they stand out from each other a little more than they do in Destiny. For example, you can have a proper tank in Division, whereas that doesn't really exist in Destiny. Destiny does have some tankier, heavier classes that can better take damage, but they're not a real true tank. They don't go out in front and distract the enemy. Just as Division has a proper medic class, where you have a healer who sits back and makes sure that everyone else stays alive, whereas that doesn't really exist in Destiny. The closest you can get to Destiny is someone with maybe the emblem of Scory and some other ability to raise your recovery rate or something like that. But there's a lack of a true healer in Destiny versus Division. So Division's characters are a lot more fun to play around with. You can do a lot more with your weapons because weapon mods are a thing. And with, like, for example, in the underground here, there's spontaneously generated maps, so that way the game's pretty different every time you play through the underground. Now, where it kind of falls short is that the PvP, from my experience of it, is pretty lackluster. It encourages a certain style of gameplay that's lacking in sportsmanship. And I might get some hate for saying that, because I know that it's a highly debated topic amongst the Division community. But I just don't like Division's PvP in comparison to, say, Destiny's. The PvE side of things is really solid, and I love it to pieces. I'm just not a fan of the PvP. Maybe you guys will like the PvP. I can't speak for you. I'm just speaking from my perspective here and what I've been enjoying playing through this game. As you can see, I'm using a special gear set in here that allows me to use a ballistic shield with a SMG. Normally you can't do that. It's a really powerful set. It's made the game really easy for me. So I might mix it up a bit. It's one of the great things about this game is how many different styles of gameplay you can really go through. But this is probably the game I've been spending most of my time on lately. In comparison to the other games in this list, Trove, World of Tanks, Ark. This game I've spent by far the most time on in my absence. So it's really fun, and I would love to play for you guys sometime if you're interested in seeing some Division content, though bear in mind I don't really do the PvP side of things. So maybe I'll do some builds. I don't know. I'm not exactly a Division pro, so take that with a grain of salt. But let me know what you guys think. So that's all the games I've been playing so far in 2017. I hope you enjoyed the little sneak peek. Most of these games are older games, but they're still really fun to play. And I hope you enjoyed the little snippet of gameplay that I had to give for each video. I'm working with a new setup here. I got a new webcam. You may have noticed some new special effects because I do have a new recording setup. So hopefully I'll only continue to improve as we move forward. If any of those games seem interesting to you, if you'd like to see more coverage of me playing those games, you just leave it in the comments below. Let me know what you think. And I guess we should get back to Pokemon videos and Outlast. We left Outlast incomplete, didn't we? So that's definitely going to be something upcoming in the near future. So that's all for now, heroes. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to stay tuned for future videos. And until next time, heroes, I'm Pogi Force, and you guys stay awesome. Take care.